Okay, so The Dark Knight Rises, ladies and gentlemen. If you've been wondering what's up with the CD case, here's the collector's case I got for Dark Knight Rises, and actually all the discs are in there, and it goes into the back. I was expecting, just like this, like bottom part here to come off or something and have, a regular Blu-ray thing, but no, it looks kind of like the poster, doesn't it?
It does.
But anyway, Dark Knight Rises. This movie, I feel, drew a considerable amount of criticism. I already did a 3.5-hour video on it, so I'm not going to talk too long. But something I just noticed, the biggest thing I've heard about this is that it's not explained how Bruce Wayne gets back to Gotham from the pit. And we just were watching it in one of the last scenes when Lucius Fox is talking to the tech guys, or whatever you want to call them. He asks about the software patch for the autopilot, yada yada. And the guy says, well, it says it was already fixed 6 months ago. Now, Gotham was under siege for 5 months. Give or take a few days, that gives time for Bruce to have fixed the autopilot before he was taken to the pit. So therefore, once he got out of the pit, traveled to the point where he could somehow access the autopilot, had the Bat come and pick him up there, fly back to Gotham. There's, it's not at all excessive, because he's got supplies when he's leaving the pit to travel to get to a computer or some kind of terminal, and they said he fixed the autopilot himself. So, and then the other problem that was mentioned is, well, we don't know how he got back. Well, they don't tell you on purpose because they want the reveal for the end about the autopilot.
And is that really much harder to believe than, a flying aircraft carrier?
Oh, come on. That was cool.
It was cool.
It was a completely different style of movie. I'm not gonna sit here and try to compare them, because that's the problem. Is you can't. Yeah. Avengers was clearly not trying to be believable. People complain about this because this movie is trying to be taken much more seriously and much more believably. And it's a subtle detail that obviously a lot of people missed.
Yes.
Is my feeling. Because I didn't even notice it until now. It wasn't a problem to me. I didn't even notice it until now. Now it completely works.
Yeah.
Alright, but anyway, let's get into the movie. So there's still some, somewhat negative things to say here and there. The biggest one is John Blake is really hit and miss for a lot of people. Robin John Blake. Personally, I like the point that I believe it was Manos who made. We didn't need to call him Robin. We knew who he was supposed to be.
Yeah.
It would have been fine if they just left it at John Blake and had him go to the Batcave. He was kind of a character that we didn't really need to be there. I can understand the argument. Personally, I don't mind, because I would have a problem with it if Bruce Wayne didn't leave someone to take up the mantle.
Well, that was the whole, Christopher Nolan's, was wanting to get through, that the idea of Batman was not so much, it's Bruce Wayne. The idea of anyone could be Batman. That's why he wanted to get out there. He had to have, someone take on the mantle.
Yeah, I'm just talking from a character perspective.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
I could not see Bruce Wayne giving up being Batman unless he knew there was someone to take up the reins. On any level. I mean, I can't see Bruce Wayne giving up being Batman except in the Nolan continuity, put it that way.
Granted, Catwoman would have been the best choice for the...
Catwoman would have been an awesome
She was up
Batman.
there. She was right there with Batman the entire time, kicking ass, so...
Kicking ass, taking names. I love the bat part in this. This has got to be the most CGI heavy of the Nolan films. And I really do like the use of it, because you can't tell what's real and what's not.
And a lot of it was done in the daytime too, which is
such a great contrast to the other films, where in Begins and Dark Knight you had this, it's kind of hard to see, and that's what caused a lot of problems with, like the falling building complaint. But here it's all out in the open, and it's this stark contrast, which also works on a story level.
Yeah.
Because in Begins and Dark Knight, you've got this gritty, immersing himself into the dark side of the world, and here you have him stepping out into the light to become a hero, and just really interesting thing, really interestingly played up to me.
Yeah. One thing I liked about noticing this sign was the last shot we see of the bat flying away. In a way, it kind of looks like the actual Batman symbol.
Oh, yeah. Actually, now I'm thinking about it. Yeah, I can kind of see it a little bit.
Yeah,
it's kind of like what Burton did in the Yeah, a little bit. That's cool. It's a little.
Bit.
It's not like look at me on the nose.
Yeah, it's like
yeah, that's cool.
It's a nice little subtle, class.
Now, you've seen the clip from the Justice League show. I've got uploaded on my channel, right, Bobby? Where he's flying flying to save Superman.
Oh yeah.
After Dark Knight Rises came out, I got so many comments on that video saying this is where Nolan stole it from and stuff like that. I'm like, guys, I swear, I promise you, Batman has dealt with so many nukes just like this before. It is not a new plot point. But another big complaint that the series got, and I'm kind of on the fence about this one, is that it's kind of a very cliche. The hero has to stop a nuke. I mean, we've seen Bond deal with this. We've seen Superman deal with this. Downey Jr. did it, or Iron Man and the Avengers dealt with it. But at the same time, I think this one was more complex because he had a part in making it. You know? I think that, I felt like Talia and Bane were very aware when they're having him produce the bomb that they wanted him to feel personally responsible on a deeper level. Downey Jr. Iron Man and Superman and Bond have never felt personally responsible for someone getting a nuke. That is very unique to Batman in this movie to me.
Another thing I liked about that was Talia and Bane. Typically, you see movies like that where it's very cliche, where the bad guy is not even aware that your death's impending with this decision you're making. Why are you doing this? It's like a very idiotic move.
Oh, but you're talking about they're willing to die.
It actually is believable, and actually,
they're very much willing to die. I did like that. All right, well, we're getting a little too praiseworthy. What's something that's still, even though you...
I did, again with the Robin, I felt I would have liked to see an actual Robin name. I kind of felt that was more a shout out for people who were not Batman knowledge.
Yeah, that's definitely what it was, is they just we could call him Dick Grayson, we could call him Tim Drake. Let's just say Robin so that everybody knows.
Yeah.
And it's toe in the middle line there for me, because I understand why they did it. Because as a comic book fan, if you were in the theater with, say, your mother or someone that didn't understand Batman, and they go, and the name drop Dick Grayson comes up, and a bunch of the theater guys go, oh yeah, and you're like, oh yeah, and then she's gonna look at you and go, who's that? That's the thing you're gonna get, is you're gonna get that reaction from a lot of people, and I can kind of see where they're coming from. Personally, I would have preferred that they go with a name drop of an actual character, but he's a different enough character in an Glam with a couple of them. So
in a way, it kind of works because for some people there was a shock that it was Robin.
I wasn't shocked. I
wasn't either, but
when you see him throw that gun, you know it's Robin. But at the same time, I was surprised that they actually felt the need to say it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Was it another thing I had? I would like to see a little bit more Batman.
Yeah, that's one thing I heard, is I would have liked this movie more if Batman was Batman at the beginning, Batman was Batman at the middle, and Batman was Batman at the end. But at the same time, I remember talking to you about Dark Knight at one point, and I remember you telling me you didn't like it as much because Batman is not the highlight of that movie. He is very much the highlight.
See, that's that's one way I had a problem with Dark Knight, was there wasn't a lot of Batman. He wasn't the Batman that the kind of guy that interrogates the guy within 5 seconds, and the guy's telling you who his grandmother was. And this one, I believe, we actually got that Batman.
Yeah, I'll agree with that a lot more. No, you're just talking. I remember you were talking about it. You didn't like that people went to see the movie for Joker.
Yeah.
I remember you telling me that. This one, I very much like. Bane was cool, Catwoman was cool, but I very much see Batman as not only the main character, but the big draw in this movie.
Main focus point was completely all around for Batman.
Oh, another big complaint that I've heard done to death is that the leg doesn't make a lot of sense for him to have this leg injury and yet be doing all this fighting, climb out of the pit, yada yada. See, that's twofold. One, Batman can work through pain. I'm not saying, physically we're shown that he has no cartilage in his knees, so it's going to be painful for him. Can he not bend his knees? No, of course not. It's just going to hurt like a bitch every time. but Batman can work through pain. That's well established in any version of the character. Secondly, though, it is fundamental to his character arc in this movie that the pain is made worse by his mind and his lifestyle at the beginning of the movie as compared to the actual physical pain. A great reveal for this, and it might seem lazy, but you gotta remember Christian Bale's a method actor. Is when he's dancing with Catwoman, he's very graceful. All right, it's very. He's not limping. I mean, it's a slow dance, but still, he's not limping while he's dancing with Catwoman. And to me, that says either A, Christian Bale forgot that he was supposed to be limping, or B, since he was distracted from the pain and focused on something interesting to him on a personal level, it didn't affect him.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go with B because Christian Bale's a method actor, and if his character has a limp, Christian Bale has a limp. I don't know, where you come down on that?
I believe a lot of the limp was him also. He didn't have that pain, but I don't believe it was as strong as.
Yeah, it's like psychosomatic, where like you can have a paper cut, but if you think it's a deep gash, you're going to treat it like it's a deep gash. It's going to affect you like it's a deep gash.
And I believe whenever you saw him worse limping was typically when he was in front of someone that didn't know he was Batman. And that could be Bruce Wayne projecting that just a little bit more than it actually was painful. It was painful, but he kind of get with a first impression that.
Yeah, it's not only his character arc; it's things other characters are saying to him. Alfred is so wanting him to get back out there into the world, and Lucius Fox is so wanting him to be Batman again. It's very much the things they're saying. You can tell that they don't believe that his physical pain is so severe. That's. I mean, we're obviously much more positive to say than negative because we both love this movie.
Yeah.
But I feel like a lot of the negative criticisms come from one thing, and this is where I want to wrap up on it. I feel like if you can go find me a YouTube vlogger or YouTube reviewer or YouTube nerd that did not make a video between the period of July 2008 and July 2012, in which in one of those videos they said something akin to what I think should happen in the sequel to The Dark Knight. If you can find me one of those, I'd be so amazed. Because the thing is, this is not the movie that everyone expected it to be. This is not the movie that everybody wanted. It was a significantly different direction for them to go. Skipping 8 years of time and having him not be Batman, it's a very big change. And it was, I certainly enjoy it. It wasn't what I was expecting.
I remember back when we were making Ian and Bobby's Adventure. Epic. Yeah.
You were in it. How are you missing this one?
I'm a blonde. I'm sorry.
Anyway, go on.
Anyways, yeah. We remember having conversations where, I was actually expecting, we were talking about how I expected that some people are not going to like The Dark Knight because they're expecting, Dark Knight Rises because they're expecting Dark Knight 2.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people actually knew that there was actually Batman Begins before they saw Dark Knight.
Yeah, that's actually really interesting. I just had an argument last night with my mom and a relative from out of town about whether or not Dark Knight was the first one. And I hate when people argue with me about stuff that, I was showing off this thing, and they're sitting there arguing with me about it. Like, I own this thing. I think I know. Not that owning something is a qualification this time. Just saying. Certainly I have a little more authority. That's pretty much where I'm at on it. I adore this movie, and it's like I said, it's one of those movies. Every time I see it, I like it more. All right, so Bobby,
yes.
Did you enjoy Batman Day?
Oh yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. All right. You think we should do another movie marathon day in the future?
Indeed.
Well, what could we possibly do it on, though? That's the question. I mean, it's like I don't know what would be a good series of movies or whatever to do a movie day on. What do you think? Should we do it on like something like over in this area with annotations, or something over in this area with annotations? I don't know. Oh, these come.
Whoa! That's amazing.
All right, what do we got here? Oh, there's the Superman 1 and 2, and I was thinking, what if we did Superman 1, Superman 2 the Donner Cut, Superman Returns, and then the fan edit of Superman Redeemed. Or perhaps all 6 Star Wars movies. Or maybe, since this is Batman Day, we go retro with Batman 89 to Batman and Robin. You decide. Let us know in the comments below. Man, Bobby, just thanks for coming out with this one. This was a lot of fun, you know. I just saying. At least it's like the actual characters.
Oh, it is a Batman.
You sneeze this, you said?
Yes.